I don't think Miriam was planning on speaking, but she might have been drafted, so we'll see if she... There, okay, great. I'm really nervous. So I'm Will Hall, and I was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and one of my experiences that's considered a symptom of schizophrenia was being in a room full of people and believing everyone was staring at me. So it's a little bit of a reality test there. I really want to thank Susan both for the incredible gift of music and also for inviting Miriam and I here and welcoming us and supporting our work. I feel really, it just always feels really good when I'm with my Irish friends. I'm mixed race. My mom is Choctaw Indian, and there's this connection between the Choctaw Indians and Ireland, because during the Irish famine, the Choctaws were so moved by the suffering in Ireland that the tribe raised money and sent it to relief to help Ireland. So I always feel this ancestral connection when I'm with my Irish friends. It feels really good to be here tonight. One of the things that we do, Portland Hearing Voices does, is to really work on stereotypes. And I hope that standing here today and talking with you, I might be able to challenge some of the stereotypes that we have of people who are diagnosed with schizophrenia. So I have all my life lived with very different, unusual, extreme experiences. Some of them very, very painful, but also some of them also very positive. And these experiences really caught up with me in my 20s. And I was so far down and suffering so much that I couldn't leave my apartment. I would walk the streets of San Francisco to get away from my roommates and feel that other people were putting their thoughts in my head. I was hearing very loud, aggressive, angry voices. I would often see connections, things that were messages that were coming to me from things that I would hear, gestures that I would see people making on the street. I was in a very, very dark, tremendously painful place, and I ended up spending about a year in the public mental health system. I was in restraints, I was in locked wards, I was in seclusion rooms. I tried all kinds of different medications. And Portland Hearing Voices was started, along with groups that I've started in Western Massachusetts, to really try and offer something different than the traditional mental health system offers. I know many people who have been helped by hospitals, are very helped by their psychiatrists, and very much helped by medications. That's great. We're not an anti-medication group. But a lot of us find that one size does not fit all. That a lot of us have been pushed into a box, and that box just isn't right for us. And so one of the missions of Portland Hearing Voices, we offer support groups, we do educational work. My experience in the mental health system was in my 20s, and now I've gone on and done training, and now I'm a therapist, and so we do counseling, we have resource referrals, we do training work with different agencies, we do public events, and a lot of our work is to really try and fill that gap, to provide a different perspective, provide a place that people can come who are looking for something that's beyond the kind of messages and approaches and treatments that we have traditionally gotten from the mainstream mental health system. A lot of us, like I said, do take medications, but there are a lot of people who come to the groups that don't take medications. I don't take medications, and I found that it's actually something that's been really helpful to me to move away from seeing myself as someone who is schizophrenic, who has schizophrenic illness, and to see myself actually as participating in one of the deepest and most mysterious parts of what it is to be human. That something is happening to me that I don't think that we have an answer for scientifically. Something is happening to me that really touches the depths of what it is to be a human being, a spiritual being, a created being. A lot of my experiences that were very, very painful and paranoid, that I would feel like every little gesture and every little facial expression, every little signal that I could see coming from other people was directed at me and was malevolent and demonic and scary. That same sensitivity to the subtleties of human interactions now, today, serves me really very well as a therapist, and actually is something that I value as part of myself. The voice hearing experiences that I have been really terrible and terrifying and nightmarish and horrible, but there are also times when I hear positive voices, and I feel very connected to other cultures and other ways of understanding reality that my mom, who's Indian, has always taught me to look beyond the Western scientific, materialistic, non-spiritual view of what is reality. And so I've always been open to different realities. And I find that my dark places are also very deeply connected to my creativity. And I'm not someone who has, by any means, recovered, but I've come a long way, a really long way in my journey. And it was really by separating myself from the mental health system, the traditional mental health system, that I was able to make the changes that I needed to make. First, I needed to talk to people who had been through the same experiences that I had been through and had recovered. So I got the message that recovery is possible, and I can start to think that my dreams are possible, and my future is something that I can actually attain. I started to look at a lot of different things, and everybody is very different. At our support groups, we don't have a single message of what is it that will help you, or what is it that can explain what you're going through. We see it more of as a learning circle where we share our experiences, we compare notes. What worked for you? Did you try this? Oh, I've learned this. This is my experience. Is it like yours? Because everybody is really different. I had to learn a lot of things about food allergies, about changing my diet. I had to look very deeply at my history of trauma. When I was in the hospital, they asked me a lot of questions about my family history, but they were interested in my family history because they have this genetic notion of mental illness. I was never asked about the history of trauma in my family. My father was a Korean War veteran, went through very terrible traumatic experiences. My father was also himself in the mental health system. He underwent electroshock therapy, he had very, very traumatic experiences with the mental health system. And I grew up in a very chaotic and traumatic family. I don't blame my parents. I don't think anyone should really to be blamed, but really understanding myself as a trauma survivor, as someone I was bullied a lot as a kid and in school, and so understanding trauma has been really helpful to me. Also spiritual practice. I meditate, I do yoga, and this is a very, very important part of my own recovery. And again, that's not to say everybody is the same. This is not, we don't prescribe anything as a one-size-fits-all, but we do create a forum where people can come together and learn from each other. We try and educate the community that there's lots of different ways of approaching this mystery that we call mental illness, and each of us needs to find our own path. And it took me many, many, many years to discover ways forward, and my hope is that I can take what I've learned and then turn around and make it easier for the next person. So I'm really happy to be here. I'm really excited for the work of Susan. I feel like it's a tremendous gift. The music and the vision and the poetry is really helpful. So thank